Hi, welcome to my channel, Grit, Grind and Gratitude, where we talk to micro entrepreneurs about their journey of becoming a micro entrepreneur and walking that path. Grit, Grind and Gratitude shares stories of resilience, of purpose, and values led entrepreneurs who are shaping their futures boldly. Hi, Javeed. Welcome so much. It's a pleasure to have you because it was you who sparked this thought that the Pandita, you need to create some bites because people don't know that you're passionate about micro entrepreneurship and that you've worked in this space in South Africa. So it's a pleasure, 3 times to have you on this show and have our listeners listen in. I've always looked up to you as a mentor, and you may not recognize it, but your being inspires me. And I'm in deep gratitude for that.
I'm humble. Thank you very much for having me. And I think Dipanvita, sometimes you just need that spark because we all have those blind spots, right? We are all so busy, and there's always that imposter syndrome which sits on our right shoulder, keep whispering in our ears, can I do it? Can I not do it? But I think you've got immense potential because when I heard your story about what you've been building in South Africa to how the journey has been, I think this region needs that piece of Dipanvita as well. So yeah, why not? And I'm super humbled to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Javeed. Javeed, when I first met you, and I remember seeing you first in a conference, and you were working for KPMG that time, hiring specifically for the region, I think focusing on Saudi, and you used to be 4 days in Saudi and flying back and forth every week. Take us to that part of your life and tell us how from there to Tidy Hire, how was it born?
Yeah, I think the story begins with KPMG. I joined KPMG in 2021, right? And one of my ex hires of my IBM days, and we have a lot of commonness there, right? I had recruited him in 2013 or 14 from Australia to come and head IBM's banking practice. He had left IBM, joined KPMG, and he was heading their consulting practice. He called me one day and says, why don't you come and see if I can... I actually reached out and said, listen, I'm done with MasterCard and a startup that I'm working for. I want to come and work for KPMG. He said, yeah, I need you, come, right? So that's how it basically started. And KPMG journey started in 2021. I think if I look back between my 15 plus years in IBM, a little less than a year in MasterCard, and then I did about 9 months in a startup in Saudi Arabia, which was setting up a brand new bank. I was employee number 5, and then KPMG. These have been my schools of foundation for what I do and who I am. And the last 5 years of Saudi has been, the last 5 years of KPMG has been tremendously enriching. We started from a blank sheet of paper and we said, let's rebuild everything for KPMG. And that's how everything started. And then my last 1.5 year was completely Saudi. You're right. I used to head out on a Sunday morning on a flight and come back on a Wednesday night. And Thursday work from home. Saturday was the weekend of Saudi, and Sunday back on the flight again. Now, while this gave me a super amazing rush and an passion to go back and do, and you're taking 3 flights, 4 flights every week kind of a thing, at some point of time I started to feel, what am I or how am I showing up for my family? And that's when I took a pause and I said, no, I think I got to show up much better than what I'm showing up right now. And that's when I left KPMG in 2025 and I'm doing what I'm doing right now.
Wow. Tell us a bit about this pause when you took, because, I remember the market was having this conversation. What's Javeed up to? Javeed is on a sabbatical. That means Javeed is cooking something. What is Javeed up to? But I know that you went with your daughter on an Umrah.
Yes. And I think
you showed up more for your wife.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, this is my ecosystem. My daughter, 10 years old, and my wife, who's a cancer survivor, turned a professional bodybuilder. And that's just the ecosystem. And my mom and my sister are in Bangalore. This is my ecosystem. You see how many women I've got, and I'm the only man in the family right now. I've got a lot of good karma that I work towards that aspect of it. But right, I mean, I think. That showing up was so much more important because when you look at a 20-year journey like IBM and whatever I've done, right? It's amazing. But when you look back at the memories, I had very few which I could say that my daughter was proud about it or my wife was proud about it. Yes, we've taken vacations, but you were not completely switched off because you're still working. You're still recruiting. In my head, I was recruiting 24 bar 7. So yes, all of those were there, but really nothing valid to say, oh, this is how it is. So yeah, first of all, I took that break and I said, when I took that break, everybody said, are you sure you're going to leave a job without a job? And I said, there's one thing that I'm confident about is I'll do something. Kuch na kuch ho jayega. I'll get something done. I will, one joke was that, what if you don't get a job? Don't worry, I'll drive Uber, right? For me, job is a job. I don't think about it of I have to have a director's designation or a VP's designation. I've always been somebody who sees pleasure in how things come together and how I do what I do, right? So that's how the conversation I said, okay, theek hai, karna hai, kar le, take a sabbatical. Minute I took the sabbatical, I went on the Umrah with my daughter. I think for me, that blessing was the most blessed part because we connected like at a different level in spirituality there, right? She and I was something, then we did Turkey and all of that. So we came back and I'm like, yeah, so that was my sabbatical. That's how I took a break. And I really didn't know I was going in to be a co-founder that time. I was still thinking, I think I'll go back to a job someday, or, maybe that could be March, April kind of a thing. January 25, I still remember that date, sitting in the airport and writing that LinkedIn post saying I'm done with KPMG and I'm coming back home right now, right? So yeah, so that's what it is.
And introduce Tidy Hire to the world as you would like all of us to know.
So it's a very organically growth aspect in my head, right? When I left KPMG, I went to Bangalore and I was doing a conference. It's called Fiesta. And this conference is a part of Tidy Hire, right? It is a community wing of Tidy Hire. So I was one of the speakers or multiple times. Why? Because Hari, who is the co-founder and the CEO of Tidy Hire, and you won't believe it, he's an ex-reportee of mine from my IBM days, right? He used to be a part of my team. And I've always loved that kid and I've always kept in touch with him. And some people used to say he's your favorite kind of a recruiter in IBM, right? But yeah, that's how Hari and I've always kept. He said, come 3 days, you're not doing anything, spend time with Fiesta. So yeah, that's how it went. And then in one of the conversation he said, why don't you come on board as a strategic advisor for Tidy Hire and help me build everything that I'm building? I want to take it to new markets. I said, yeah, I'll come and help you. Doesn't matter. I've always loved you. So that's how I went in as a strategic advisor. And 3 months down the line, he makes an offer. Why don't you come as a co-founder? I'm like, yeah, I think I'm loving what I'm doing. This is what I want to do. And then that's how the journey started. So what does Tidy Hire do? We want to provide a new category of talent acquisition because recruiters today are burnt out. Recruiters today are undervalued or not valued. Recruiters have to do so much with so much lesser in terms of time and effort. All of that problem statements, and I still remember writing that strategy document when I was making what I want to do Tidy Hire was, I was echoing every single feedback my recruiter has given me in the last 20 years. My team has given me in the last 20 years. And I said, I want to put all of that in the product so that the recruiter is super enabled. We don't want to replace recruiters. We want to be able to enable them with something that they don't have to worry how their future looks like. Now, Dipanvita, when I say that, somebody might say, but there will be reduction. Yes, there will be reduction. But how I say that to a talent acquisition leader, say, Dipanvita, you are a talent acquisition leader. You've got a team of 5 people currently, okay? Now, whenever there is a growth in your organization, the first thing that you do is you go ahead and hire more recruiters so that you can do more. That's the easiest traditional way of addressing the growth problem. What I'm saying is, and then when something goes wrong, what happens is you have to reduce the same team, right? You have to reduce from whatever the number is, and you need to bring it down to a sizable number so that you have the right spending capacity. What I'm saying to the talent acquisition leaders is, if you have a team of 5 people, keep that 5 people, but make them like a 10-member team or a 20-member team. How? Give them the tools and the technology wherein one recruiter is able to do 2 or 3 people's job by click of a button, but still is not burnt out. Let the monotony get taken over by the tech and the tools. Let the recruiter spend the value at 2 places: hiring managers, team, and family. This is where they need to spend more time with, not calling for 20 people, 30 people. That somebody can do. Now, some people say, but then that's an human aspect of recruiting. Yes, not sifting resumes, not shortlisting resumes, but having a negotiation, onboarding the candidate, welcoming the candidate to a new country, addressing the anxieties of the candidate in a new country. That is a human intervention that we need, not sifting resumes or shortlisting resumes that the tech can do. Right? So this is how Tidy Hire came in together, and we provide one hiring operating system, that's one hiring OS, to every problem. So I've said I'll train people, I'll give them a playbook, I'll give them a narrative, I'll give them the tech, I'll give them the tool. Anything that you need, we'll do it from Tidy Hire. So that's how this came into picture. So we are a startup currently of about 20 people, including the co-founders, 21 people today. We just onboarded somebody today. So 21 people today. And we have about close to 25 to 26 clients who we are already servicing the entire system. So some buy it in, just give us the AI for having an interview, some as conversation, just give us this, give us that. So we are not stuck to by saying, just take what we have from the shelf. We build for a problem what that team has, and that's what we're doing at Tidy Hire.
Great. Tell me more about Ria, because I see in your, in your email signature, it comes up, Ria is ready.
Ria is ready. No, now too many things are ready with Tidy Hire. But Ria is our voice agent or voice conversational agent who can show empathy, sympathy, answer any questions of the candidate. So today what Ria can do is say one of the biggest problem statements or the statements that the candidates make in the Middle East. Yeah, I applied, but nobody gets back to me.
Yeah.
Right? I applied, but nobody even says even thank you for application or whatever it is. And I get a rejection mail after a couple of months saying I've chosen somebody else. So what Ria is trying to solve is we built Ria in such a way that the minute a candidate applies to any job in any company, Ria will automatically call up the candidate and says, thank you for your application. I am an AI recruiter from this company, and I would like to take 5 minutes of your time to understand you better. Why are you applying? What is your salary? What is your notice period? What is your visa status? And how soon can you join? Whatever the basic questions or the basic filtering questions. Or she can even ask 1 or 2 technical questions or 1 or 2 behavioral questions, and then think through that answers and qualify and says, you got 500 applications. I've spoken to everybody. I've thanked everybody for that. But in the 500, I think this 50 might need your attention. This is the message to the recruiter. And then the recruiter picks it up for other process of that. That's what Ria is trying to do. I'm making Ria conversational at any given point of time. Now, it does not have to be recruiting. Ria can also be an incoming call for any HR person where he can or she can call at midnight and says, I need to understand the policy of maternity, paternity, or what is my leaves, what are my balances, I need a letter immediately. Incoming, Ria takes that, processes the message, and gives everything back to the employee or the candidate that is. So that conversation that we cannot have with every single person, that's what we're trying to do. Imagine this, you have 500 birthdays today. You can't call, HR partner can't call all the 500. But Ria can call all the 500 at a certain point, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., all 500 calls, wish everybody a happy birthday. Now, yes, it's an AI calling, but we can make it look like a very human calling. But at least somebody call the employee and make them feel that, yeah, you are noticed in the organization. We can do stuff like that. That's what Ria does. Ria is basically our AI speaking conversation.
So for our listeners, I want to bring this up now. There are many people, I have been a mother and I quit the rat race when my daughter was 2 because I thought I'm not doing justice to either. Neither am I doing full justice to motherhood or my job at Suzuki that time.
Yeah.
Ever since, from 2006, if you look, I have made a plan. I have let life offer and worked around, created something which feels good to me. I'm passionate about it, but the end output is that I'm not slaughtable. I'm a very diverse skill set, and
Right.
no AI or even bots, they can't really slot me. So how do you address, and I'm not the only one, there are many out there who take breaks for motherhood for various reasons, because women often are the caregivers, the chief caregivers. It could be for their ailing parents, for teenagers when they need it. So how does RIA address, or you address, cases like these? Or does RIA flag these cases and say you need to have a conversation here?
100%. So, for example, I can give you a few examples and address that question that you have. There was a candidate that or there are a set of candidates that RIA was calling for a client. And in one of the conversations, RIA felt that this candidate has a lot of anxieties about relocating to this region. Immediately flagged that across to the recruiter, saying, I think you need to have a conversation, not me anymore. Now, how did we find out that? Is when the transcript was happening, RIA asked a question, are you okay? Everything okay? Well, I don't know whether I'm going to do it. So she saw some amount of hesitation, and that's how she transcribed the emotion and then she sent it across. Now, is this 100% perfect? No. Now, for example, you gave me a very good understanding about the mothers and the breaks and the sabbaticals, right? We were running a project for calling all the women who have taken a sabbatical to understand why they have taken a sabbatical. That's all I can do. Now, once I understand that, are you open for a job? Yes. Okay. Now I have a few questions regarding the current job that I have. Will you be able to answer? Yes. Okay. This is the one question. This is the question. So what RIA can do is just understand, collect, and pass the information. She is not going to be a judge, but everybody got a call, Deepanvita. I was able to reach a far larger audience rather than a small subset of people. Now, a recruiter will never be able to do 100 calls in a day because there is not enough time. But in that case, what happens is they will go ahead and call 10 people and make a decision in the 10 people. What if your 11th or the 12th woman was the best fit?
Yeah, true.
Right? So what I'm trying to do is don't hire for comfort, hire for competence and excellence. Reach a larger set of people, but don't make the judgment and the biases, because again, I don't want recruiters to upload any resume, any profile, anything. All your recruiters need to do is name, email ID, telephone number, call, speak, converse, understand, provide transcription of your conversation and your confidence score about what you think about the person. That's all RIA does. No judgment, no evaluation, no skill basis and all of that. Now for that, we've got something else, but that's pretty much what RIA will do. Is she will try to reach out pretty much everybody and anybody and give them a chance to be even spoken to.
Great. I'll not get into the controversial elements of agentic AIs because it will digress from where I want to focus on. Tell me what your high points are in this journey of running your own co-founder. Like, you joined something which was ready, and then you joined in with another passionate individual, Hari. So tell us, what have been your high points in this journey?
There have been a lot of high points. One is, I think, something that I've always wanted to do but have been handcuffed, I'm able to do it now. Because corporate has its own challenges of being creative in itself, right? Today, I don't have that handcuff. Somebody says, Javed, I need this. Can you tailor it? Yeah, sure. I own the company, right? But I could not do it the other way. So there are a lot of high points in terms of flexibility, creativity, And how far can you think to get done? I don't need a village to approve a process or a thing. I can still do it between Hari and I. We take the decisions. And of course, we've got a technical CTO who's also a co-founder in the company. And he basically keeps us on the ground saying, listen, don't think like magicians. Huh? Technology can only do so much. I'm like, yeah, okay. Right? So he keeps us on the ground, but there is no limitations. I walked into a door and the client was completely non AI friend, right? The other side of the spectrum. So we've got believers and we've got non-believers. So that's how I say, and then I convert the non-believers into believers, right? It was a non-believer client. I walked into the door and he said, yeah, but then can this do it this? Can this do this? And there's a lot of blocking happening, right? And I stopped and I said, what do you want, right? I mean, what are you trying to solve? And he says, can you train that AI to speak like me? Yes. Can you give it my voice? Yes. Can you make any changes happening to the voice tonality, blah, blah, blah? Yes. Can I give you questions and only that questions need to be asked? Yes. So whenever he kept saying something, can this be tailored? I kept saying yes. There was no, I need to think about it, right? For me, that was a big high because I was building for him, like him, and get the job done. Now,
and
if
not
I had
offering an off-the-shelf product.
no, that doesn't happen. I mean, I've never said that one AI can fix every problem. Cannot happen. And one model cannot fix all the problem. Cannot happen. So hence for me, that was my creativity high is I am not just selling you what I have, or I don't have limitations of telling you, sorry, I can't do this, right? Some clients come to me and says, can you make this orange? I said, yeah, one click, change, orange, khatam, right? So for me, that part of agility and creativity on how quickly we are able to tailor something for a client gives me immense happiness because one size cannot fit all. And I can't take one kandura to everybody, right? So I have to make sure it looks different and fits different for everybody. So that creativity and that that flexibility of me doing what I'm doing right now is the biggest part of it.
Cool. Now tell us about the challenges.
Challenges is sometimes when I've never been on the other side of the table where I had to pitch to somebody. I've always listened to pitches, right? For me, that was a new skill to develop, right? And wrong word. I always felt like I didn't have an ego. I was the most nicest, humblest guy. But when somebody treated me wrongly on a call, like disrespecting the time, like I've never disrespected anybody's time. I always show up on time. I always greet everybody on time. When a junior person, a manager level person says, hang on, I need to take a break. I need to take somebody's call. I need to go away for something during the meeting while you're talking and having a conversation. And I'm like, I'm not used to this, right? And I'm like, that's another skill set that I had to teach myself is like, it's okay, let it go. Don't take it too much on yourself.
You've got to be a little pachydermish when you're selling your stuff.
Yeah, right. I mean, that was a skill set that I had to learn. And there have been days like, I don't think I deserve it. And then I'm like, no, just calm down and take it another. So there were those days where you feel like you belonged and you have something, but that's a false sense of identification I had through my designations in the past. I think today, I'm true to what I am doing and I can take anybody's feedback on the chin. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm working on it. I am building it. It'll take some time. Yeah, it's okay. Don't worry. You want to reschedule? That's fine. There's no ego. That's completely now. I think I've let go of that, but I thought I had, but not. Now it is much more better. Yeah, so that I think was a learning, Dipanvita. That's what I think for me was one of the low points during this 8-9 months that I've been on. This is, Hari would always say, Hari still owns this business. Hari is still the CEO. And then he still says, I know, that shouldn't have happened. We will take care of it, right? He's
Almost borderline apologetic.
Yeah. He basically understands where I'm coming from, and I'm like, yeah, don't worry, man. We got this together, kind of a thing, right? So yeah, so that's something that went through at the couple of months. But I think now I've understood that as a co-founder, as a business owner, um, till you reach a certain point again, when you run a 10 million business, then I think it'll be a different talk. But currently, I think you're still knocking everybody's door and saying, "Hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm here. I can help you." That was something for me to learn. That's a new skill that I put together right now.
Yeah, and it's competitive, like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they say it's 20 is to 1. So 20 doors knocked, one door opens.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely, 100%, right? So, but the validation is that, we've built a product which everybody says, I don't think somebody else has something similar to what you guys have, because others, I'm not degrading any product, but others are, or I'll just tell you about me, is as a recruiter, as so passionate about recruiting, I've built this product. So everything recruiting is in this product, not somebody who thought in a 30,000 level and put a product together, right? So that way, everybody says great
Also,
product.
insights of your journey for how many years as a recruiter?
Oh, 20 years, 20 years of
Wow,
recruiting.
that's immense amount of insights.
I met my wife also. She was also an ex-recruiter, but that's a different story for another time. But that day she said, if you imagine how many people would have you hired, and I actually made that calculation, rough calculation, it's about close to 350,000 people that I've been involved in recruiting for.
Wow.
IBM itself is half of it, or even 75% of it.
Yeah.
But that's how many people I've recruited in my 20 years. And imagine, that's like a population of a country at some point of time. My wife and my daughter were around to just keep going. We've never seen you so happy in our lives. So just keep doing what you're doing right now. We'll support you through the process.
Yeah, your eyes shine a little more brighter. Your eyes always shone. Your aura always is of a person who knows their stuff and who's true to themselves, not only themselves. When we mean that we are true to ourselves, we are true to others as well. So there's a lot of authenticity that you bring in your space, and also approachability. So that is but now I see that your eyes are shining brighter, actually. Yeah. Okay. So we've talked about the pivot. We've talked about the product, the problem that you're solving in the market, the vision of where you are going to. Would you mind sharing a bit of that? I feel like we should have got Hari as well here, but it's fine. It's fine.
You should do it another time. He brings a complete different. He's like the other side of the spectrum when it comes to here and I. And I think for us, it's a very simple vision and mission of what we are building. 1 billion conversation, 1 million hires, one hiring system. That's what we are building. Simple. It's just very, very simple on where we want to take Tidy Hire to. It's 1 billion conversations through our AI. That's our goal. And this is a 5-year goal. And we'll rethink about what we should do after that. And 1 million hires through our products, and whatever Ria can do, Charlie can do, and Tidy Hire can do through any touch points of our product. And all of this happening through one hiring system, so that the recruiters don't have to jump here and there or use siloed products. Everything comes together. That's our vision. Simple as how we kept it.
Cool. And tell me, in this short journey of how many months? 8-9 months?
9
months. Yeah, 9 months. So tell us what nuggets of wisdom you have for people who are sitting on the fence, thinking about their passion project, but not having the courage or the conviction to jump, let go of that safety that a regular salary at the end of the month brings.
I was in NHRD and I told somebody said in the crowd, it's like, how do we manage a burnout? I just said, quit your job. That's the best way to manage burnout right now, right? But no, honestly telling and putting the wisdom behind it, it is difficult because you don't have the safety net of the salary being credited on the 26th of the month. There's no safety net anymore. That is the safety net that you're letting go. But Say, for example, if your salary was 10,000, you might actually invoice 20,000. You never know. You see, there is always a good and a bad to that safety net right now. But I think the first step is don't over strategize whether you want to do it. Jump in, start shaping it as you jump in and you belong. In the last 8-9 months, Hari and I, or if you look at the co-founding team, we've reinvented ourselves 6 times on what we want to show up as a market. Even today, when I tell you the 1 billion, 1 million and one hiring OS, I don't know if that's going to true maybe next year, because the way technology and the systems are moving, it could change. So don't get stuck on that. This is my goal and I'll walk to it. No, you might have to take a few diversions every time you get onto that road. But start. That is my humblest request, because I think I want to do something for myself has been a thought in my head, at least from COVID times, right? 2019, after I left MasterCard, I wanted to say, why don't I start something? And every single mentor of mine has said, you're not built for this. You're built to do something yourself. But I never had the confidence for doing it. But yeah, here I am. When I started it, I just felt so nice, so amazing at this point of time. I can't tell you. That is that. But can you keep a mix of both, like hybrid? Work, get a salary, but continue working on your dream? Yeah, start doing somewhere. Start doing something, right? Because you got to show up in both the places, because you need to have the safety net. Don't give away the safety net unless you've got some plans for it, right? I think that is the starting point. That's the wisdom nugget that I would like to do, is start either hybrid or fully into it, but start. If it doesn't work out, you're not a failure. You at least got some experience and you will redo it differently. Or if you want to go back to a job, you'll go back to a job with a different mindset where you might continue to do something differently. So you might show up differently at your work as well. But do it. Somebody needs to start that. I think the starting problem is everybody's problem, Dipanwita. I think that's where everybody needs to get a little bit of a push. In my case, I think I knew I will not fail on one thing, is how to recruit people. That much confident I had. Rest is we'll bring the circle around, the radius around everything else. But I knew how to recruit. That was one confidence that I had, is I'll go do that in the rightest way. Yeah.
Cool. Anything that they need to watch out for while they are jumping? Because it is, if I may say so, it's unnerving for people, because the reality of life is that you have bills to pay, you have mouths to feed, like not literally, but you do have to put food on the table.
Yeah.
And not everybody can deal with the financial uncertainty the same way as founders have found it easy. What's helped you through this?
Talk to your family as much as you want. I mean, you don't have to validate what you want to do, but talk to them. Tell them what we are getting into and how we are getting into, because it should not surprise that I used to do everything. I used to have everything. Now I suddenly don't have XYZ. You don't want to create a vacuum in your lifestyle suddenly when you jump into these kind of things, how big or small it is, right? And I think that's my first thing that I did, is I had sat down, I had a conversation. I think this is how another year is going to look like. And they said, yeah, fine, let's go do it. And if this doesn't work, then you can always go back and work for somebody, right? But have a conversation. I think you need to, don't get yourself validated. I'm not saying have a validation. You need that support. You need your cheerleaders inside your ecosystem or your inner circle, because it's not going to come from the outside anymore, right?
Yeah.
Very clearly. Nobody's now going to say you're on a great journey. Nobody's going to say motivating thing. Nobody's going to give you free business. Nobody's going to give you free dirhams. Nobody's going to give you a free slot on the calendar. Nothing is going to come free after that. But hence you need your cheerleaders inside your ecosystem and your inner circle before you actually jump into that kind of a thing. That I think is a basic foundation for everything, right?
So I hear onboarding your family, actually. Onboarding your family on your journey.
100% onboarding that family on this journey is so important. And then have a little bit of a plan. Now, don't make that plan too rigid. By January, I'll do this, February. No, I think the reinvention during that journey is super important, because when you make that plan so rigid, then it's bound to fail because of the boundaries you set.
True.
So you need to have no boundaries. The reason you're starting something on your own is to not have the boundaries. So if you start putting boundaries in this job as well, then you will not enjoy what you're doing. And that's when I said, let's see how it works out today, let's see how tomorrow is, let's see how Friday is, let's see how a Monday is. I want to see that at that day rather than overthinking or overthinking how that's going to look like. Don't be in that jail which you've created for yourself. I've been there quite a few days in that cell without knowing I can't go beyond this wall. But suddenly, when I closed my eyes and let those four walls fall down, and then it started working. Now, then the last thing that I learned, and I learned this from a very dear friend, is let them carry their own water. You can't carry other people's problem. You have to look at what you can do, how much you can carry. You can carry others' baggages and others' problem. So focus on yourself. It's going to be a little more easier for you to focus on how you take this ahead. So for me, my role is very clear. Hari, you carry your water. I'll carry the water that I need to carry. Then we bring together as we carry the entire startup together. And then
That's such a beautiful imagery. You know, it is a beautiful, and it will stay with me as well.
you got to carry your own water, be it your family, Dipanvita, be it your children. You can't carry everybody else's water, right? You love them. Don't get me wrong. You will die for them, give your life for them. But carrying their water on your shoulders is not giving them any learning. So they need to let them carry their own water, right? And be it professional and personal. This is how I've started operating from the last 8-9 months. Oh, life is amazing.
And there's a bit of, like I was having this conversation with my daughter, and I was saying there's a bit of detachment. Like you're doing it, you realize these are your duties, your responsibilities, but you're not getting almost like distancing yourself, and distancing yourself from the problem and the joys, both to a certain degree helps maintain the sanity in your life as well. That's my
100.
journey.
Very well said. Absolutely. So, I mean, my mom has always been like, some people have said you haven't even got yourself detached from the umbilical cord from your mother. Yeah, that was not literally the way, but yeah, every time my mom would have a problem, she would phone me up and say, listen, I'm going through this. I'm here. She's in Bangalore. I can't do much. So one day I said, why don't you take some action for what you're going through? Tell me what you did and then come back and call me, right? She's like, why? What happened to you suddenly and all? I said, listen, if you are having a backache, I can't do anything from Dubai. So why don't you go to take care of yourself, treat yourself, take yourself to the doctor, tell me what happened after that and we'll talk. So even those smaller things, need to let go at some point of time so that you create more brain space for yourself.
Yeah. Is there anything that we have not discussed that you would want to share, especially for our listeners who are starting out or already have started out and
I think
on the journey? Or
I've always wanted to pass this message on to every leader out there, because what I'm seeing currently is people have been, and this is more philosophical than anything else. It has nothing to do with we as humans, we need to show up as humans. That is point number one. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I want to fail. Nobody does that. Everybody wants to win and somebody wants to contribute. So we got to understand to see how we can empower people. HR leaders are slowly forgetting that part of it and focusing only on the resources or the productivity. There is that element that's missing. And if you are a manager and if you are serving people and helping people, or if you have a team, don't let the team apologize for having a personal life. For example, hey, I'm so sorry I got late. I have to take my kid to the school. Why should they be sorry for that? That's their job. That's their personal life. So I always told my team, never apologize for having a life. Just go do what you need to do as long as you're doing it right. And leaders, and I said this in one of the other conferences as well, is when somebody calls you, don't start the conversation, where are you? Start the question, I hope everything is okay. Because if somebody is late or is not coming to office or is not phoning up, I'm not treat everybody exactly the same way. Yes, there are certain ways of people dealing, and every spectrum has a certain amount of people in their own sections. I'm seeing that humanity go away. I get so many calls, Dipanvita, and I try to speak to everybody and see what is happening, and I'm seeing so many calls about I'm not being treated fairly, I'm being shouted at, I've been, I think something is going wrong in the industry. Maybe it's the pressure, maybe it's something else that's going on. I don't know. I'm not there in the industry anymore. But yeah, I just wanted to pass that message on saying be human as much as possible.
Yeah.
I think light is very
Long
important.
back, there was a book by HBR. It was a compilation of articles saying bringing your whole selves to work. And that has stayed very close to me throughout. Like, I think it's a 2005, 2006 produce. Like, it came out in the market at that point of time. And it has always stayed. And I think to allow ourselves to be human, the grace, the ability to make mistakes and learn, and it works both ways, when we
Yeah.
allow grace to ourselves first, then only we can offer grace to others.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely. Very well said. And I think that's what I wanted to leave everybody with some audiences. If you want to start on a journey, start. Don't wait. There's never the best day or the good day.
Yeah.
Iterate. Smaller wins will bigger wins. That's how you pile up on the pyramid. Nobody started building from the top. Everybody started from a good foundation, right? So start somewhere, invest in yourself, read as much as you can, and keep taking that steps until unless you don't take the step towards something, then either then it's never an action, it's just a dream. And my boss, I still remember this, my boss used to say, you've got great dreams, but they're good dreams, but until unless you execute them. I was like, yeah, right. So I started focusing on execution more from that day onwards, right? So your dreams need to be put into action. Your dreams need to be executed, otherwise they're forgotten as soon as you leave the bed.
And you owe it to yourself. If nobody, I mean, who else?
100%. Nothing. Nobody. See, nobody's going to come on this journey with you. It is you who's going to go on this journey with yourself. You got to be true to yourself. Can I do it? Can I not do it? Can I sustain what I'm doing and make sure that the people around me are happy? Yeah, I think so. Then go do it.
Yeah.
That's all that you need at this point of time.
So thank you so much, Javeed. I'm conscious that we're nearing almost an hour now. It was a beautiful conversation, and you kind of highlighted that there's a lot of grit and lot of grind. So it's not easy, but with that and gratitude, I'm sure those unexpected doors open, and that's what keeps you going, each micro entrepreneur going. If you like this interview, please don't forget to subscribe by pressing the bell icon and follow us on our social media handles as we talk to more and more micro entrepreneurs who are living their dreams boldly.